Alright there, geezers, it's Jules here from FGS. And you know what? Easter eggs aren't just for Easter when it comes to video games, because here you can stuff your face with countless titles offering up secrets, nods to other games, or find full-on conversations with the developers themselves anytime you want. And there sure are a lot of them. Hell, I even asked my audience over on Twitter, and no, I won't call it X, and was reminded of the secret dog ending from Silent Hill 2, the goon who was stabbed by Buffy the Vampire Slayer in Max Payne, and the fact that you can make it rain actual cats and dogs and Tokka touring car for the PS1. So the question is, which ones are the absolute best? Well, that's what we're here to find out today. As I'm Jules, this is FGS, and these are the top 10 Easter eggs in video games. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be making you a part of this list experience each week going forward, so drop your comments down below on what you think would be the top contender for next week's video, which is going to be based on the best boss battles in video games. And you, yes, you, could get featured in the next video. But for right now, let's smash the shell right off the all-timer best Easter eggs in video games with number 10, Jill's Sandwiches, Dead Rising. In beloved zombie actioner Dead Rising, take a gander through the restaurants on the first floor of Paradise Plaza and you'll find a sandwich shop called Jill's Sandwiches that, at first glance, seems dead ordinary. But wait a minute, Jill's Sandwiches? Those two words paired together will surely conjure up memories for an entire generation of gamers, because of course it's a wonderfully tongue-in-cheek nod to one of the most infamous one-liners in video game history. In the original Resident Evil, after Jill Valentine is saved from being crushed to death by a trap thanks to her trusty pal Barry Burton, he blurts out the immortal line, "You were almost a Jill sandwich." And so Dead Rising, also being a zombie game developed by Capcom, well, they just couldn't resist but tip their blood-soaked, entrail-encrusted hat to one of the genre ancestors. It seems like a mega obvious Easter egg in retrospect, and yet it's just subtle enough, feeling like a natural part of the game's environment that you couldn't be blamed for missing it. Number 9. Indiana Jones's Corpse, Fallout New Vegas. Pop culture references are a dime a dozen in video games, but every so often there's one so clever or gut-bustingly funny that you'll never ever forget it. Case in point, Fallout New Vegas had an all-timer treat for players who had the Wild Wasteland perk. The Wild Wasteland perk effectively populates the world with a number of kooky Easter eggs, and there's none better than the familiar-looking human remains that you can find on the road leading from Good Springs. You see, inside a grotty-looking fridge, you'll find a skeleton and a fedora, which is very clearly referencing the much-maligned scene from Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, where Indy seeks refuge from a nuclear blast by hiding out in a lead-lined fridge. Ever since the diverse sequel's release, fans have noted the absurd implausibility of Indy's survival, and so the fine folk at Obsidian just had to poke a little cheeky fun at the whole debacle. It feels even more poetic given that New Vegas publisher Bethesda is now working on their own AAA entry into the indie franchise, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Number 8. The Monkey Family, Halo 3. From the hilarious to the positively cursed now, as we go to Halo 3 and the unforgettable Monkey Family Easter egg. In the game's second campaign level, Sierra 117, go past the point where Johnson says his pelican was shot down while keeping to the left, and you'll eventually be able to crouch under a ledge and be greeted by a family of 4 monkey-looking cavemen. The monkey men, who all creepily have the same human face, do nothing but stare blankly at you, and while shooting them will cause them to spill blood, there's no way for the player to actually kill them. As it turns out, the nightmare fuel face here belongs to one Marcus Leto, a senior team member of developer Bungie at the time. The Monkey Family apparently began as an internal company prank, with an artist grafting Leto's face onto a gorilla, before it was then decided to let the entire world in on this weird joke. After all of these years, we can still see that vacant, unsettlingly smiling face staring back at us, even when we close our eyes. Number 7. John Romero's Head, Doom 2. An oldie but a goodie now, with Doom 2's utterly unhinged John Romero Easter egg. In this legendary shooter's final level, as you battle End Boss, the Icon of Sin, players who use the no-clip cheat to clip outside of the map's boundaries will find a gnarly behind-the-curtain surprise. You see, if you run through the wall below the Icon of Sin's head, you'll enter a secret room that contains the decapitated noggin of franchise co-creator Romero, stuck on a pike, who's there staring straight at you. Now, Romero might appear to be dead, but if you open fire on him, he'll disconcertingly recoil in pain, and after taking a few hits, he'll indeed perish, bringing the level and the game to an end. Given that Romero is often described as gaming's first rock star developer, or if we're being slightly less generous, a brilliant egomaniac, it's totally on brand that he'd make himself the true final boss of his own sequel. Number 6. The Locust Toaster. Gears of War 2. Now, Gears of War probably isn't the first franchise you associate with fun, off-the-wall Easter eggs, given that it's relatively self-serious in nature, especially in its earlier entries. But the second game in the series nevertheless offers up an outrageously daft surprise for the ages, when in Act 4 chapter, The Best Laid Plans, you can find a random toaster belonging to the villainous Locust Horde. In the level, you can eventually stumble across an outside area lined with numerous pillars, and in the center of the room is a strange-looking block. Shoot the block and you'll find said toaster with 2 pieces of bleak-looking bread sticking out of it. Better yet, you can actually interact with the toaster and get it a toastin'. And once the bread has been charred to within an inch of its life, protagonist Marcus will cough his lungs up before asking his teammates who wants toast. It's impossible to find this Easter egg and not immediately imagine the Locust heading here for their morning brekkie before they get to work terrorizing the globe. In a series defined by its muted colors and gritty tone, this shameless bit of silliness was certainly most welcome. Number 5. Arkham City's Blueprints. Batman Arkham Asylum. And now we come to one of the most ingeniously well-hidden Easter eggs in video game history. Now, it's always fun when games hint at future attractions, though Batman Arkham Asylum definitely took that to the level of art with how brilliantly it concealed its sequel's announcement in plain sight. In Warden Sharp's office, players who use outside-the-box thinking can use the Dark Knight's explosive gel to find a secret office hidden in the walls. It's all the trickier to find given that it isn't marked with detective vision. Once you enter the office, you can find blueprints for Sharp's plans to turn Gotham City's slums into a massive prison, with the stamp on the blueprints indicating that they've also been approved. This, of course, is the actual plot to sequel Batman Arkham City, and in brilliantly subtle fashion, this Easter egg made it clear that Rocksteady already had the spine of their story figured out. Number 4. Dead Altair. The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings. It's always a good chuckle when games poke gentle fun at other titles, and where ribs are concerned, The Witcher 2 may lay claim to the best ever. During the prologue section, when you're tasked with disabling the ballista, run towards the iron gates and then take a sharp right into a small alcove. Here you'll find many bales of hay and the corpse of a man in a white robe laying in a broken cart. Clearly this is a reference to the Assassin's Creed franchise and its iconic leap of faith, a rite of passage in which players make death-defying leaps from tall structures into bales of hay conveniently placed right below them. The Witcher 2 makes light of just how ridiculous an idea this is by showing the assassin whose leap of faith didn't quite pan out as expected, with their body reduced to a red smear on the pavement below. And better yet, the foolhardy ex-assassin bears a distinctive resemblance to the series' original protagonist, Altair. And because that's not enough, Big G over here even remarks on the corpse, "I guess they'll never learn," after which players will tellingly unlock the assassin attribute. Number 3. The Hidden Cheese. Perfect Dark. Now here's one for the cheese lovers out there, and you know what? Does the presence of cheese in a video game ever really need explanation? Of course it doesn't. It's cheese, for goodness sake. I was trying to do a Wallace and Gromit impression there and failed badly. But throughout legendary Nintendo 64 FPS Perfect Dark, players can find a sliver of Swiss cheese in each of the game's levels. They're exceptionally well hidden, with cheese fiends having to go far out of their way to find them placed in vents, secret rooms, and even the bloody toilet. If you might assume that spotting all the cheeses will lead to a spectacular unlockable for your efforts, maybe some paired red wine perhaps, well, no, there's no reward whatsoever. As for why Rare included such a bewilderingly weird Easter egg, well, after over 15 years of radio silence on the matter, they finally revealed that, during development, an artist working on the game realized that their model render for Air Force One looked like a block of cheese, and so the art team decided to honor this by including a block of cheese in every level. And that's it. Brilliant. Number 2. There are no Easter eggs here. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Perhaps no franchise does Easter eggs better than Grand Theft Auto, given Rockstar's penchant for populating their massive world with more in-jokes, references, and secret content than any single person can likely ever find for themselves. And the best of the lot just might actually occur in San Andreas. Once you obtain the jetpack, either by progressing through the story or by being a damn dirty cheater, you're free to fly about the game map at will, and curious players who fly to the top of the giant bridge will be met with the most curious sight indeed, but one that is definitely not an Easter egg, okay? At the top of the bridge is a sign that reads, "There are no Easter eggs up here, go away." The irony, of course, being that this totally not an Easter egg is, as a result of the very definition of an Easter egg. Given that GTA fans expect Rockstar to fill basically every square inch of their maps with meaningful content, this was a cute way for them to tell players to quite literally get their head out of the clouds. And number 1, the secret cow level, Diablo 2. And for our number 1 spot, there could only be one pick, Diablo 2's secret cow level. Now this is an especially fun one because it was originally an urban legend spread by fans of the first game, that by clicking on a certain cow a certain number of times, that players would be transported to a land filled with bovine creatures. But it turned out to be bunk though, and a clearly amused Blizzard subsequently had plenty of fun taunting fans, even making the level skip cheat command in StarCraft the phrase, "There is no cow level." But the publisher finally relented in Diablo 2, where after having beaten the game once, players could combine 2 items to create a portal which indeed led them to the much ballyhooed cow level. The level in question is basically exactly what it says on the tin, a small map packed with armed hell bovines led by a boss known as the Cow King. For Blizzard to take a tall tale whispered amongst the fandom and eventually bring it into glorious mooing life is the epitome of giving players what they want, and it's a brilliant Easter egg as a result. And there we have it, my friends. Those were the top 10 Easter eggs in video games. I hope that you enjoyed this, and let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. But if you are going to leave a comment, remember to also put your suggestion for the best video game boss battles, because like I said, I'm going to go through, pick my favorites, and feature you, yes you, in the next video. And if you aren't done with lists, then why not subscribe to the FGS YouTube channel, where you can be notified when I go live every single Friday with my deep cut laden list. It's the Deep Cut with Jules Gill, baby, where I'm going to be focusing on video games that you need to know more about, have never even heard of, or just haven't thought about in a while. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me on my social medias, which you should see on screen right now. Hope you're treating yourself well, my friend, because you are a bloody big ledge, and I wish nothing but the best for you, alright? Now go out there and smash it. Big love to you. And I'll see you soon here on FGS.